Shalom, shalom, peace and blessings. Welcome to the Fourth Angels Learning Center. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. This is Jadiel, and thank you for joining us for our Aleph-Bet study. We are on the letter Sheen, Sheen, and we're gonna get right into it. I just want to remind everybody before we get into it, if you have not subscribed, hit the like button, click the notification bell for more content that we have coming out. Please also, I want to remind everybody, if you have any suggestions on what topics or what type of misunderstandings you guys may have, or even simply you're studying and there's something that you want to see a different perspective on, feel free to send us any messages to kind of cover that. We take a lot of requests and under consideration, you know what I mean? So we make sure we do, whether a short video, long video, don't matter. So one thing I want to let you guys or remind you guys of is that one of the best ways to support this ministry is to share the videos, to allow other people to receive a blessing, encouragement, as well as enlightenment from these videos also, besides yourself. So with that being said, let's get right into it. Let's look at this letter Sheen. I think this is very important to look at, get a clear view. So this is the pictograph form. As the paleo transitions, you see how it turns into the modern that we have here. But the ancient pictograph was a picture of two teeth. It looks like two front teeth, so two teeth. And the meaning of it is press, like when you're chewing, pressing together, your two teeth pressing together, top and bottom, or pressing into the food, your teeth pressing into the food. It also means to eat. It also is an emphasis on both or two. So we're going to look at that. To eat, press into, to press. So we're going to look at these aspects of these things. I am going to bring up this verse in Revelation to show us what does eating is eating an emphasis of in regards to scripture. Eating is an emphasis of receiving. If you go to Leviticus chapter 6, there was an instance in which the sin offerings all had to be eaten by the priest. The priest that offered the sin offering for the people had to eat or partake in parts of that sin offering, and it was supposed to symbolize the bearing of the iniquity of Israel. So the receiving of the iniquity, bearing it, taking it from and bearing it. Eating is also an emphasis of the covenant of uniting. Whenever there was a feast and there was eating, there was usually a covenant. A sacrifice was made, but they also ate it in order to demonstrate a covenant between the two parties offering that sacrifice. So I want to show this verse from Revelation chapter 3, just to keep that perspective going. Chapter 3, Revelation 3:20. So look at what it says. It says, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and sup with him, and he with me." It says, I will come in and sup with him. What does that word sup mean? That word sup means, let's look at it, to dine, to eat. It also means to take a meal, right? To receive, feast. So what is this saying? It's saying if you open up the door, right? If any man hears my voice and open the door, I will come into him. What is the door referring to? The door is referring to your mind, your heart, and your mind. So if you open up the door of your heart and your mind, it says that the Messiah who's knocking will come in and he will sup with him. This is a reference. Not only is it a reference of dining together or fellowshipping or communing together, it's also an emphasis on uniting together. I will come into him, right? I will come into him and sup with him. Unity, covenant. There's a covenant being made between the two that's dining together. This is also emphasis on us opening the door, hearing his voice, right? If any man hear my voice and open the door, it's an emphasis of opening the door and receiving him in. Receiving him in. This same emphasis, this is Passover language. So if you go to Exodus chapter 12, the similar referencing of Passover was to strike the blood. Exodus chapter 12, it says, when the lamb is killed in the evening on the 14th, it says that they should take the blood, strike it on the two side posts on the upper door posts of the house. So the blood was supposed to be on the door, wherein they shall eat. So inside of that, where that door is, inside is where they would eat. You see that? They shall eat the flesh in that night, roasted with fire, with unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs. They were supposed to eat it at that night, the Passover lamb. So what is that representing? That's not only representing, just simply obedience to the commandments. It's more like I am putting it on the doorpost representing my heart. The doorpost represents what I'm receiving into my heart. And what I'm receiving is I'm taking the Passover lamb and I'm taking it into my home. And I'm eating the Passover lamb in my home. I am receiving the Passover lamb in me. This is the same reference that we see in Revelation 3:20. The Messiah is knocking on the door of our hearts. And if we open it, if we hear his voice, his instructions, and open the door, he comes in and he sups or unites, or we presses together. He presses together with the person that opens the door. So with this perspective of the teeth, right, of the Sheen, we're going to go to Psalms 119. And we're going to look at this perspective. We're going to allow this perspective to kind of guide us to what the verses is emphasizing on. Now, the verses can say different things, but I believe because he put the Sheen in the very beginning of these verses, is very important that we make sure that we apply this perspective to the reading of this stanza, I would say. So Psalms 119, starting at verse 161, it says, rulers have persecuted me without a reason, but my heart stands in awe of your word. I rejoice at your word as one that finds great spoil. I hate and despise lying, but your Torah do I love. 7 times a day do I praise you because of your righteous judgments. Great peace have they which love your Torah, and nothing shall offend them. Yahuah, I have hoped for your Yeshua, your salvation, and done your commandments. My soul has guarded your testimonies, and I love them exceedingly. I have guarded your precepts and your testimonies, for all my ways are before you. The guarding aspect. My soul has guarded your testimonies. It's not just a matter of loving it, loving his testimonies or loving his word just with emotion or just with excitement or whatever that may be. It's more about protecting, keeping it close, pressing it close to you, pressing into his word, pressing into his presence, giving your strength and your energy towards pursuing after his righteousness, and not only after his righteousness, pursuing the understanding of his word as well. 7 times a day do I praise you because of your righteous judgments. This is a pressing in. This is a pressing in, a man who desires for Yah to be in his heart all day. 7 times a day, I'm approaching you in praise. I'm approaching you in understanding and remembering your righteous judgments. I'm approaching you 7 times a day, receiving peace, that because I love your Torah, nothing shall offend me. Nothing is affecting me. Nothing is taking me, separating me from you. The word Sheen also means two, two. So there's an emphasis. What's uniting? Yah and his people are uniting as one. It's through his son, through his word, that they're uniting. Your heart and mind is uniting with his heart and mind, pressing together. It says, my heart stands in awe of your word. I rejoice at your word as one that finds great treasure. You see the perspective here of Sheen, right? When you look for great treasure, when people find great treasure, how do they look? They look diligently. The emphasis is pressing. It's like they put pressure on themselves. They put strictness. They make sure that they follow through with when it comes to searching for, like, let me find, you're looking for an outfit, or you're looking for sneakers, or you're looking for something online that you really want to purchase, and you finally got the money for it, and you're gonna search diligently, right? You're gonna search, you're gonna put, it's not like you're putting negative pressure on yourself, but you are pushing energy. You're pushing a lot of strength and energy towards obtaining this goal. And this is one thing that Yah wants us to remember, that the pressing, let me go back to it. The pressing is not simply towards like some type of head knowledge. The pressing is towards Yah. You're pressing 7 times a day. I praise you. I've hoped in your salvation. You're pressing towards being delivered. You want Yah to deliver you. You want him to come and receive you. You're not doing all of this stuff just to do some commandments. You're doing it to have him, because you want him to come for you. You want him to come to you. You guard his testimonies and you love them exceedingly. Why? Why is there a pressure? Why is there a grabbing hold? Why is there a eating of his word, right? Man shall not live by bread alone, but every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Yah. Why is this consuming? Why is there a consuming of his word? Why is there a consuming? To receive it into our being, to allow it to affect every aspect of our being. How does food nourish us? Food nourishes us. It gives us strength. It clears our mind. When we don't eat, what happens? We get foggy minded, we get tired, we get weak, we get sick, all of these different things. We're approaching his word like great treasure. To receive it is like to receive riches. It's to guard it. You don't just leave your wallet out in the middle of the street. You put it where it's protected. You don't want nobody taking your information, all of these things that are valuable to you, right? So the pressing in is the perspective, like, hey, I'm pressing in this to unite myself with Yah, to be with him, not to be so. Sometimes there's this focus, and I want us to get this clear. Sometimes there's this focus. Hey, I'm gonna grow a beard. I'm gonna wear fringes, right? I'm gonna do these things. I'm gonna keep the feast. I'm gonna turn the TV off on the Sabbath. And the mindset doesn't really transition from doing those things and uniting yourself with Yah. The mindset is simply, I'm going to do these things because I'm supposed to do these things, and these things make me righteous. When in actuality, I do these things because yahuah commanded me to do these things, and yahuah makes me righteous. I do these things to press into yahuah, to join with him, to open my heart to Messiah and allow him to come in and sup with him. This is what the purpose, the goal of this keeping his commandments is. The goal of the commandments is to be united with Yah and his son in deliverance, not in doing it so I could be righteous when I do it. doing it so I could be united with Yah, who will make me into a righteous being. This emphasis is usually forgotten. Sometimes the repetition and the routine becomes robotic. The repetition and the routine becomes robotic, and then you don't really see Yah. You just say Yah. You don't really see Yahushua. You just say his name. You see what I'm saying? Yah wants us to constantly have the perspective, be in awe. To be in awe is to be in acknowledgement of the magnitude of the relationship that you have with him, the connection that you're making with him. The more that you see David reading and get understanding and getting closer, the more that he becomes fascinated with his connection with Yah. He's not talking about, I love your Torah because your instructions just sound so good. No, he's like, I love your Torah because it's showing me you. I love your Torah because it's explaining to me who you are, what type of personality you have, what type of character you have. This is what we're falling in love with. To love his Torah is to love who he is, not to love, let me pick out, to love, keep the feasts, even though those things become a delight when you love Yah, of course. But the purpose is to connect with him. Those things are a delight because you're connected to him. The more that we disconnect that with doing his commands, is the more he's going to look at these commands like it's just some arbitrary, some pointless, some vain actions that we're performing, so that way we can look a certain way. This is what the Pharisees and Israelites have constantly been falling into from times of old, is that there's this constant forgetting. The mentality is constantly forgetting what Yah wants from us, that connection, looking at his law, looking at his temple and the sacrifices like it's just, oh, if I slaughter this animal, I'm going to be clean. Never. One, if you slaughter the animal, you're following the instructions of Yah. You are doing it because of your connection with Yah. What you perceive Yah is going to perform for you. You bring when they brought purification sacrifices to Yah, it was because they were pursuing Yah to purify them, not the goat. They were not pursuing the animal, the heifer, the red heifer and the ashes to purify them. They were pursuing Yah. They were pursuing him. They were approaching him. They were trying to connect themselves to him to receive that purification, to receive that cleansing of transgression, that cleansing of sin. They were pursuing Yah with the peace offering to receive peace. They were pursuing Yah with the thanksgiving offer to thank him, not to offer this so you could look good. So we have to keep in mind this perspective when it comes to his Torah. To love his Torah is to love him. If you can't see him in the Torah, you're not really looking properly at the Torah. The Sheen is the pressure, is the pressing into who he is, the pressing in to the point where there is no difference. You put food in your mouth, right? The teeth. You put food in your mouth like Sheen, and you chew it. Let's say I have vegetables and I have rice. I'm gonna just use this object lesson. If I put vegetables and rice in my mouth and chew it, they become so intertwined, they can't be separated after a while. With the pressing into, you chewing it, after a while, those two different types of food becomes one. There's no way that you can separate a vegetable from the rice after I've finished chewing it 32 times. So we have to understand the perspective of the Torah is to press in with all of our might, with all of our strength, with all of our intellect, our mind strength, so we could become one. You have to pursue the understanding of who Yah is, the face of Yah. You're not pursuing commandments, you're pursuing Yah. You understand? So we have to approach the scriptures that way, and this is what David is trying to show us. In his desire for the law, he's trying to press into Yah He comes to him 7 times a day just to praise him. Why? Because he sees him so much in the Torah that he's following, in the instructions that he's studying, in the words that he's meditating on. So we have to also try to perceive and see the same thing, or we're going to miss the point, miss the mark. So we're going to go into our top study next week. And I hope that this was an encouragement with you. I look forward to studying with you guys next week. Shalom, everyone. Shalom, shalom. Thank you guys for joining our study today. I hope that it was edifying. And if you want to support this ministry, you can support us on 4alc.com. And don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube page. Click the like button and the notification bell. I hope to see you guys on the next study. Shalom, guys.